Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my MLB best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday, July 23rd. First up, we see a doubleheader between the Cleveland Guardians and the Chicago White Sox. Now, in Game 1, we should see Tristan McKenzie and Johnny Cueto. Game 2, no official starter for the Guardians. We should see Lance Lynn for the White Sox. That is certainly subject to change. We've seen all season long doubleheaders, a lot of the pitching information changes. It's one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of doubleheaders in terms of betting. But, in Game 1, if we see McKenzie and Cueto, I do like the White Sox to go ahead and grab the win. Cueto, the White Sox have won 3 of his last 4 starts, and he's pitched really well as of late. Going into the All-Star break, his ERA is now below 3 at 2.8 on the season. Last time out against the Twins, he went 6 innings, giving up only 1 earned run with 5 strikeouts against a really tough Twins lineup in a 12-2 White Sox win. Previous start to that one, 8 shutout innings against the Tigers with 5 Ks as well, in an 8-0 victory for Chicago. Tristan McKenzie's had some issues with the home run ball this season. Now, recently he's pitching well, his last few outings going into the break, but not against the toughest of lineups, the Royals and the Tigers. I think the White Sox offense that's really improved against righties. I think they can get to McKenzie enough to get the win in Game 1. But in Game 2, there is just no way I can back Lance Lynn right now. I do believe he will sharpen up as the season continues, but his last 3 outings going into the All-Star break were not good at all. We saw him give up 5 earned runs to the Twins, 8 earned runs to these Cleveland Guardians, and then 6 earned runs to the Twins again, giving up home runs and a lot of base hits as well, a whip of 1.5, an ERA of 7.5. Just can't trust him in this spot against Cleveland. So give me the White Sox in Game 1 and the Guardians in Game 2. Next up, we see an AL West matchup between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Logan Gilbert and Justin Verlander are your starters here. Great pitching matchup. That's why the total we see at 7. I am going to trust Verlander and the Astros bats a little bit more here and take Houston on the money line. We've seen the Astros really do well against right-handed pitching in really overall in 2022, but especially in the last 30 days. When you look at Team OPS, Astros are ranked 3rd in the last 30 days against righties, 3rd in isolated power as well. The Mariners' offensive numbers haven't been bad in that stretch either, but I just trust Justin Verlander right now. We saw him going into the All-Star break pitching very, very well. On the year, a 1.89 ERA, which is 3rd in the American League. A 12-3 record is the best in baseball. 108 strikeouts in 109 innings. Not too bad. We've seen the strikeout numbers rise for him as of late, which is really important for his game, in my opinion. He's got his last 12 innings getting 18 strikeouts against 2 teams that don't really strike out a ton in the A's and the Royals. So pretty impressive stuff from Verlander. We know he's a legend of the game on the mound. I think he delivers here. But on the other side, Logan Gilbert, going into the All-Star break, he had a good start against the Rangers, but a few starts before that one started to get hit pretty hard. We saw him give up at least 2 home runs in 3 of his last 5 outings going into the break. Strikeout numbers were kind of in a roller coaster going up and down, and I just don't know if I can trust him here going up against such a good starter in Verlander. So I'm going to take the Houston Astros here on the money line on the road. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. We're going to see Cutter Crawford and Alek Manoah on the mound for this one. Now, the Boston Red Sox offense has certainly taken a hit as of late. When you look in the last 30 days against righties, the Red Sox are ranked 25th in team OPS. It doesn't get any easier here facing Alek Manoah. We saw him have a notable performance in that All-Star game, striking out the side in order in the American League 3-2 victory. But Manoah pitching really well in the first half of the year, 2.28 ERA, top 10 in the American League. 0.96 whip is also top 10, so pitching very well for this Toronto rotation. On the other side, Cutter Crawford's got a 4.5 ERA overall, but a 5.09 ERA at Fenway Park this season. He's got a good strikeout rate, but I am concerned about the walks and the home runs that he allows. The Blue Jays have been very good against righties as of late in the last 30 days. Number 2 in team OPS, number 7 in isolated power. So I like them to get to Crawford here. I think Manoah has a quality outing, and I like the Blue Jays to grab the victory on the road. Next up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. We're going to see Marcus Stroman and Zach Wheeler on the mound for this one. Now, I have to admit, I am surprised to see where this line is right now. We have a lopsided pitching matchup, in my opinion. Although Marcus Stroman has been a lot better recently, he still doesn't really pitch deep into ball games. He's only made it 4 innings or 4 1/3 innings in his last 3 starts, and the Cubs have had one of the worst bullpens in baseball this year. So for the Phillies to only be minus 160 with the much better starter, the much better lineup, the much better bullpen, being at home, the much better record, I just can't, I don't understand it. I think they should be minus 180, 90, minus 200. So just based on value alone, I think the Phillies are the play. It is a little strange, and it's something that's happened for quite some time now with the Chicago Cubs. If you've noticed, they've been getting a lot of love from odds makers. Not sure where this trend comes from. It's actually really been working the opposite direction, as the Cubs have been dreadful in the last 15 games or so. So it hasn't really worked out for the odds makers, and I don't think it's going to work out for them in this spot either. I've just got to take the better team, the better pitcher at home. Give me the Philadelphia Phillies here on the money line. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Detroit Tigers. Joe Ryan and Michael Pineda are your starters. Now, I have my concerns with Joe Ryan in terms of the home runs he's been allowing. At least 1 home run in 4 of his last 5 outings, but the Detroit Tigers just haven't been good enough offensively against those right-handed pitchers for me to take a chance with Detroit in this spot, especially when you look on the other side with Michael Pineda on the mound. The Minnesota Twins have crushed righties this season, and Pineda's ERA at 5.22. I think it's going to rise, actually. We saw him give up 8 earned runs in his last start before the All-Star break. 2 innings, 9 hits, 8 earned, 2 home runs against the Cleveland Guardians in a 10-0 blowout loss. The Tigers have lost 3 of the last 4 starts that Pineda's had against the Guardians and Royals twice each time. So I don't like this spot for Pineda. I think the Twins get to him early, and I like the Minnesota Twins here on the money line. In our next matchup, we see Steven Matz and the St. Louis Cardinals taking on Mike Minor and the Cincinnati Reds. A pair of lefties going at it here. Now, both teams have had success offensively against left-handed pitching, more so the Cardinals, and I do trust the Cardinals lineup and bullpen a lot more in this spot as well. I lean towards the over. We see a very high total at 10 right now. We're at a hitter-friendly ballpark. We see 2 teams that have crushed lefties. We see 2 pitchers that have ERAs above 6. It does make sense to take the over, in my opinion, but I do trust Steven Matz overall on the mound a lot more than I do Mike Minor. Minor 1-6 with a 6.21 ERA, giving up a ton of home runs already. 12 home runs and only 42 innings pitched. I can't back him in this spot. Steven Matz's xFIP is a lot lower than his current ERA, and while I do think he'll still give up a few runs here and he won't pitch too deep in this game as its first start back since May 22nd, I still think he's the better option here. I think the Cardinals are the much better option as well. Give me the St. Louis Cardinals here on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Baltimore Orioles with Garrett Cole and Jordan Lyles on the mound for this one. Now, to me, this is just too much of a pitching mismatch for me to take a chance with the home dog here. I know the Orioles have been great at Camden Yards. They're very fun to watch, and they've been a very profitable team. But Garrett Cole is still having a good year for the Yankees, and he's pitching really well going into the All-Star break. His last 14 innings, giving up only 2 earned runs with 23 strikeouts in that stretch. I think he pitches well here. And on the other side, Jordan Lyles, not a guy that I'm looking to back. The New York Yankees have been great against right-handed pitching. Jordan Lyles really struggled in his last start going into the break. 2 2/3 innings against the Tampa Bay Rays. 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 walks. He's not going to get it done, in my opinion, here. Give me the New York Yankees on the run line in what could be an ugly one. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to see Max Meyer, the young pitcher, going up against Jose Quintana here. Now, the Miami Marlins have certainly had their offensive struggles lately, but they've really struggled against left-handed pitching in particular all season long, with or without Jazz Chisholm in the lineup. And with a lefty going for the Pirates here in Jose Quintana, not my favorite pitcher to back, but still a starter with a sub-4 ERA this year. I've got to take the Pittsburgh Pirates here at a really good price at home. Now, I do think the Marlins are the better team overall, but their injuries have really hurt them. Their inability to score with runners in scoring position has really hurt them. The bullpen and starting rotation has been fine, but the offense has just been so lackluster, and against those left-handed pitchers, it is really tough to back the Marlins these days. I'm going to lean towards the under, but I'm also going to take the Pittsburgh Pirates here on the money line. In our next game, we see the Colorado Rockies taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to see Jose Urena and Brandon Woodruff as your starters. Now, I do like to fade the Colorado Rockies offense when they are playing on the road and facing a right-handed starting pitcher, and Brandon Woodruff is just the type of guy I like to back. You look at Woodruff's numbers, he's got 84 strikeouts in 66 innings this season. Now, I will say he was very, very lucky to only give up 2 earned runs against the Giants last time out. He just didn't have his best stuff. He had 5 walks allowed, 5 base hits. I think he sharpens up here at home where he's pitched a lot better, a 2.2 ERA and 4-0 record for Woodruff at home this season. Facing that Rockies lineup that just hasn't done much against righties on the road, I expect a really good start from Woodruff here. On the other side, Jose Urena is a guy that I am looking towards regression as the season continues. He's got a 2.05 ERA with his new team, but he doesn't strike out a lot of batters. He walks a lot of batters at times. I think this is going to be a start where he really struggles against the Brewers lineup that's been very, very good against righties at home especially. So I'm going to take the Milwaukee Brewers here and lay the 1.5 runs, and maybe even thinking about laying 2.5 runs in this spot as well. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the New York Mets with Chris Bassett and Blake Snell on the mound. Now, it was a disappointing first half of the year for Blake Snell. There's no doubting that, a 1-5 record of 5.22 ERA, but I still think there's some light at the end of the tunnel for him. I think we're going to get some value on him in spots like these. To me, I don't really trust either of these starting pitchers 100% right now, so if you're getting plus money with the better bullpen, I believe, in the San Diego Padres, I don't think it's a bad idea. The Padres have already gotten to Chris Bassett this season. We saw that at Petco Park back on June 8th, where it was only 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits, and 7 earned runs that Bassett allowed. The Padres offense hasn't been the best as of late, but I still think I've watched a lot of Chris Bassett starts recently. I haven't necessarily been impressed with his game. He's giving up a lot of fly balls, a lot of sharp contact, and that's not what we're used to seeing from him, as he's more of a pitch-to-contact ground ball pitcher. So I do think he's in trouble here. Blake Snell, you're either going to get one of the best starts of the year, like he had against the Dodgers, 5 innings, 1 earned run, 12 strikeouts, or against the Giants, the next one, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts. Or sometimes you're going to see him blow up in the early innings and the game is over right where it starts. I think when you're getting plus money, sometimes it's worth a shot. This could be an ugly one, but I'm going to take the San Diego Padres in a lean here on the money line, getting the plus money. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Kansas City Royals with Brady Singer as the projected starter for the Royals. No official starter for the Rays quite yet. This is going to be one of my least favorite games on the board, but I am going to take a small lean with the Tampa Bay Rays on the money line. Brady Singer's had issues with the home run ball in his career and this season. A 1.38 home runs per 9 is pretty high for him. His strikeout numbers haven't been too bad, 69 Ks in 71 2/3 innings, but just not too sure about his game right now. He's walking some batters as of late. He had 5 walks allowed in his last outing against the Tigers. He's been giving up a lot of base runners in general, and I think the Tampa Bay Rays are just that type of team to make you pay when you put a lot of runners on base. A 1.24 whip is a little high for Singer, in my opinion, so I do think the Rays can get to him enough to get the win, but like I said, not a strong opinion on this one, and I think it's an ugly one that I'll probably be staying away from altogether. So I'll take a lean here with the Tampa Bay Rays on the money line. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is going to be a nationally televised game on Fox, 7:15 Eastern. Alex Wood and Julio Urias are your starters. Now, the Giants have had better numbers offensively against lefties overall this year. Recently, Giants are number 1 in team OPS against lefties in the last 30 days, number 2 in isolated power. Now, the Dodgers have improved their game offensively against lefties, but I will say I think Alex Wood is in better form right now. I've really been impressed with his game recently. When you look at his last 3 starts, 1 earned run or fewer in all 3 of those starts against the D-backs, Padres, and Brewers. Striking out some batters, not giving up home runs, only giving up 1 walk in his last 3 starts combined. He has been really impressive, but the Giants bullpen really scares me. We saw in the first game of this series, the Giants were down 5-0. They came all the way back, but the bullpen blew it in the end. I don't want to touch this Giants bullpen right now, so I'm just going to take the San Francisco Giants in the first 5 innings. Now, they're actually the underdog in the first 5 and the full game, so you can get a half a run on the run line, or you can just take them on the money line getting plus money, but I'm going to take the plus half a run on the first 5 innings spread for the San Francisco Giants. In our next game, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Atlanta Braves. We're going to see Patrick Sandoval and Kyle Wright as your projected starters. Now, overall this season, it hasn't been easy being a left-handed pitcher against the Atlanta Braves, but recently the Braves' numbers against lefties haven't been the best, so this is not my favorite game on the board because I don't want to back the Angels. They haven't been very good at all in the last 2 months or so. Patrick Sandoval's been very inconsistent. His most recent start before the All-Star break was not good at all. Gave up 7 hits, 3 walks, and only 4 2/3 innings. Now, he only gave up 2 earned runs, 4 total runs allowed, but the Angels' bats have just not been there. Sandoval has lost each of the last 4 starts, or the Angels have lost each of the last 4 starts that Sandoval's had. I just can't trust the Angels here on the road. Kyle Wright, not my favorite starter to bat, because I do believe there's some regression to worry about in his game, but I think he's the better option here at home. I think the Braves have the much better bullpen and lineup as well. So I'm going to take a small lean with Atlanta here on the money line, but some contradicting information in this one statistics-wise, so not my favorite game on the board. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and to me, I think we're going to see plenty of offense in this game. The Nationals have done a lot better offensively against lefties this year. Bumgarner's had his struggles in 2022 with the walks and the home runs, doesn't strike out a ton of batters. To begin with, the Nationals do a great job at limiting strikeouts, and Bumgarner's last start before the break, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 total runs, 4 of those being earned, 4 walks as well. I think the Nationals get on the board early and often, but on the other side, Anibal Sanchez, I cannot back him here. He struggled mightily in his first start of 2022. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 2 homers to the Atlanta Braves. The Diamondbacks are a very home run dependent offense, and against right-handed pitchers, they do very well in terms of the power department, the slugging percentage department. I think they find a few home runs on Sanchez, and I think both of these bullpens are well below average, so I think we see scoring from start to finish of this one. Give me the over in the Nationals D-backs. Next up, we see our final game of the night between the Texas Rangers and the Oakland Athletics. Taylor Hearn and James Caprillion are your starters, a pair of pitchers with ERAs above 5. Now, I don't say it very often, but I actually think James Caprillion is the better option in this matchup. He has been improving his game. As of late, he hasn't been too bad on the mound for Oakland, and the Athletics against left-handed pitchers, they limit strikeouts at a really good rate, and Taylor Hearn is strikeout dependent. If he doesn't get those strikeouts, he's really in trouble. He's walked a lot of batters this year, giving up a lot of base hits. His whip is at 1.67, so I could see the Oakland A's getting some base runners on, finding some runs early on, and when it comes to these two bullpens, although I don't really trust either option, I do think the A's have the better bullpen slightly. We saw in the series these two teams had before the All-Star break, a game went to extra innings, and the Rangers allowed 8 runs in the 12th inning in a 14-7 A's win in extras. I don't know how that's possible, but it just goes to show you that this Rangers bullpen is not the best. Give me the Oakland A's getting plus money here, even better value as the home underdog. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday, July 23rd. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below, and don't forget to check out my premium plays at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.